Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to Wait, Are These Guys Friends? For a Halloween spooktacular. But the scary part is that we lost the episode we'd already recorded.
The most psychological terror that could have happened.
That's the withered corpse of Randy, and I am Mike.
Why did I gotta be withered? Come on, man.
Because I'm a eternal vampire. In time looking.
What if I'm a zombie? I guess withered zombies can still be withered, right? And more decomposed, but
yeah, and to be fair, you're not. If you were just freshly bitten, listen, listeners. If you don't know him in real life, Randy's a handsome guy. The problem is he's decomposing. But if you were freshly bitten as a zombie, you're right. You're a smooth skin
head of zombie quarterly. Right
it's
here.
Been 10 minutes. Like, look at this fresh-faced new zombie. How long does it take? It doesn't say. How long does it take a zombie to? Is it just the normal rate of human decomposition? I imagine.
To decompose or to turn?
Yeah, no. If you turn, and then eventually you're gonna just look like a piece of shit withered corpse. Is zombie decomposition the normal rate of human decomposition, or is there something accelerated there, or is that rule to rule, franchise to franchise? I'm not sure.
I feel like it is because we definitely see it in Walking Dead, right, where you see versions of people that have clearly been longer, or maybe it's just dependent on your environment, surroundings. Like if you're in a colder climate, maybe you don't decompose as quick.
Nature versus nurture. I get you.
I know, yeah. This is much more in depth than I thought we'd go into zombies, but I'm greatly amused at the thought of Zombie Quarterly, a zombie magazine.
Yeah, it's it's very poorly written. It's a lot of scrawls, and there's
every eighth word is brains. So it's just.
Well, I was just about to say there's different sections. There's your comedy, Revenge of the Living Dead, which is all they do is talk about brains.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got your 28 Days Later. I don't know what their section would be. To me, it's fitness because they're the ones that run. The 28 Days Later zombies run. And then your George Romero zombies do I feel like Andy Rooney op-ed pieces. Just be like, zombies today. They're all about the brains. In my day, we were more about terror. Now, did we still eat brains? Sure, but we didn't talk about them all day. And these new kids, why do you have to run all the time? You're going to get to your brains.
It's just eventually people will get tired. They don't get tired anymore. That doesn't work out.
I remember when I was a young zombie and we used to walk around the neighborhood and we'd just catch people in corners and rip their heads off. Now you have to chase after them. What's with today's youth?
There's something to zombie Andy Rooney, but it's.
I love that he got turned and it's still occurring. Or I guess not turned. He was
He gets interrupted halfway through. He just pulls somebody out and then he pulls it, and then he goes back to his point. I like it.
Do you think when say it works Night of the Living Dead style, where the dead rise, does he rise and immediately start complaining? Like, I was tired.
The zombies get mad. They just eat him first, even though he's one of them. Like,
this tastes terrible, but we have to get rid of this guy.
For the good of everyone.
So, for the good of everyone, because I enjoy it, we do have 4 good minutes from our what is now sadly our second lost episode. And what annoys me is they were both real good. If we had lost an episode where I was like, well, we've done better. And listen, to be fair, we have. How is Baby Chef these days? It's not doing well. The numbers are down. We loved it. My goodness, what a poor performing episode. Anyway, I'm going to give you ahead of what we watched. Not me tossing to what we watched. Not me asking you what you watched, Randy. But this lovely bit of business from, I don't know, all that we have left, and I cry while it plays.
Randy, what's your favorite scary movie?
I know there's a lot of classics here, but I really got to go with 976 Evil.
Hello there, and welcome back to Wait. Are these guys friends?
Wait, where'd Mike go?
I've killed Mike, and I'm here with Randy. Randy, I'm going to fucking murder you.
Oh, so you're just like Mike. All right, got it.
Now sit there and be quiet while I play this week's theme song. A song about two friends who host a podcast together and argue regularly about their pop culture interests and if they're actually friends or not. One friend is named Mike, one is named Randy. Wait, are these guys friends? As the argument continued to escalate, Mike and Randy's banter became more heated, leading listeners to wonder, are these guys really friends, or just co-hosts of convenience? I can see there's nothing here but bile, hatred, and anger. I can sense nothing but pure evil lurking in the shadows, waiting to strike with its venomous words and twisted intentions. Wait, are these guys friends?
Randy, I'm back.
Was that
It took him. That
was
a
that a new
recording.
one? I thought you played that like last week. Isn't that
Oh
the same
God,
stuff we had?
I've been playing that open every week. He sent it to me. I don't know what happened.
Oh, you came back from the dead. Nice, well done.
He thought he got me. I'm
That was
bleeding out.
supernatural of you. Yes.
I'm bleeding out. I probably have just enough energy to record this show, our Halloween spooktacular. But by the end, I'm gonna be gone.
Spooky.
I need you to know that. I need you to know it's not gonna. Oh my God, he's coming back. He's coming back. I gotta.
Tell me what you watched this week or I'll get you like a fish. And it better be fucking good, Randy. Mike's picks are amazing. I love them. Wow me.
What an odd villain that kills you, but also has a lot of sympathy for all your selections.
The clock is ticking, Randy, so spill it before I make you the next victim in my horror movie marathon.
I got him. Hang on. I'm working on it. He's gone. And the killer really is. Oh my God, it's my cat, Tom. I fucking knew it. He seems real pissed I didn't give him extra wet food yesterday. Oh, okay.
All right.
I should probably call an ambulance.
Okay.
But I think we can continue on with the show. And I hate to humor him, but what did you watch this week, Randy?
I'd like to point out that while Mike may or may not have to pull the curtain back a little bit, been playing certain MP3s, he's sharing his screen, and I can see like the email open part. I will say the most terrifying thing to me is 4,408 unread emails. As someone who is a complete neat freak about all that stuff, and needs to have like everything zeroed out, that is giving me more anxiety than anything we're going to talk about the next few hours.
Randy, I know what you're talking about. I was just attacked by the Ghostface killer.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
If there's any windows open, it might be the Ghostface killer's emails.
As a calculated killer, he is not very good at cleaning out his inbox.
I wouldn't worry about it. I'd move on from it.
What did I watch this week? Gotcha.
Yeah. So you can start with what we watched. Do we want to cover anything that we talked about last week? Here's my question.
I don't remember.
Okay. So I'm going to throw out the two movies, and I'm happy to talk about them if you want me to talk about them. Maybe the listeners do. I don't know. I also thought maybe you've seen them in the week since, but perhaps not. It was the new Beetlejuice and Alien Romulus. Wait, did I talk about new Beetlejuice in this one? No, that was the other one. It was just Alien Romulus.
Gotcha.
You ever see it?
I did not get a chance to see it, so if
you owe me $15.
Yeah. Facts.
Don't worry about why.
Because I'm fanatical about emails. Understood.
Yeah. So you did not see it. Okay.
I did not.
Maybe I'll talk about it again a future week. Even as I started to think about it now, I thought I don't want to just echo everything. Listeners, we talked about this. How much do we recreate what we lost? And how much do we try to do something new? And even sitting here trying to tell you again about a movie that you can watch and you can talk about any time, I have this mental block of just like, I've done all this already. I don't want to rehash everything. Even though you didn't hear any of it, I'm just like, I'm over it. I've moved past this mentally. So Alien Romulus is fine. The first hour is among the best Alien movies I've ever seen. And then the last 40 minutes is among the worst things I've ever seen flat. That's your review. I got into it more last time, but boy, if anything, that's a tease to check it out for yourself, because man, is that first hour good.
Nice.
So anyway, you go ahead. I'll hit you with some more after. Tell me what you watched this week.
Got you. So I was very excited that I believe it's the final season of What We Do in the Shadows has returned to FX/Hulu, and there have been 3 episodes. So maybe 4.
3 out already? I'm 3
it's either
behind.
It's either 3 or 4.
Good God.
And it's just, what can't you say about this show that I think it's so impressive how it continues to be the offbeat brand of humor that's still super funny. Like so many offbeat humor attempts venture into just not being funny and just kind of being there. And What We Do in the Shadows is so brilliant at being so ludicrous and surreal at times, because it's an insane premise, that it makes it super funny all the different places they go. I think I even texted you this. In the first 3 episodes, they've started basically like 3 or 4 different storylines that I can see them taking all the way through this season. It's
I'm
brilliant.
Very excited. Also, I feel a little better because I thought, how have I missed that it's been back for 3 weeks? They did 3 on the first week.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay. I was like, how the fuck did this escape me for 3 weeks? But okay, good. That makes me feel a little better.
There's a couple different ones. There's a funny running gag of they discover hypnosis power and how vampires can hypnotize each other, and there's just a bunch of funny stuff in that regard. But there is some interesting things, some interesting pairings of different characters. There's a new character that's introduced in the first episode, and he is paired up with what's her name? The guy? No, what's Kristen Shaw's character's name? I'm blanking on it.
Oh gosh, yeah. The guy does sound right. But
I think that might be right. So, but
and I got the internet. You keep talking.
But this new character.
It is the guide. You did great.
Okay, there we go.
Never doubt yourself.
Pairs up with her, and there should be some interesting stuff there. So it's
okay.
Very, very fun and entertaining. I mean, I think I'm always impressed that What We Do in the Shadows furthers the storyline, but also is ridiculous and silly and super, super fun. And just the actors that play them are just awesome.
Listen to Matt Berry talk all day. Read me the dictionary.
The guy who plays Nandor has some great moments. I mean, he's always entertaining, but he is really, really funny in some of the things. It's the hypnosis episode. There's some great stuff going on in there. I'm very excited that it's back. It was really fun and easy to watch all 3 of those, and I'm looking forward to every week those coming out.
I love that. That's great to hear that it also strikes me as one of those shows that, even though it's in its 6th season, is going to go out with people still loving it. That hasn't outstayed its welcome.
Yeah.
Either due to its release schedule, its quality, however it works. Do you think, and if it already happened, let me know. Obviously, this happened back in the first season. We got the cameo from the original movie Vampires, and that was a great scene in the first season with the council. Do you think they show up one more time to say goodbye to this world, this universe, this whatever, or are we too far past wanting to see them or care about them in any way?
Probably. I mean, I think in this story's true comedic storytelling, I would almost think it's either a throwaway or they're not as anything, just they're there for a half a second. I could see them doing it that way. They'd be
a quick reference to the council, and you briefly see them again, and then that's that type of thing.
It would be fun to see, and I'm blanking on his name, but the guy from Flight of the Conchords that played their boss, if he would show up as the werewolf, that would be fun. Whoever
Murray's actor is.
Yeah, Murray.
Yes.
Murray starts with an R.
What was his name? Oh, Reese something.
Yeah.
Reese something. Reese Darby.
Reese Darby, yep.
Yep, he's good. He's fine.
That would be fun to sprinkle. Actually, that would be really cool if they would sprinkle in parts from the movie as just kind of ancillary stuff throughout the season. That would be cool.
That'd be cool. Cheer Up Murray is one of my favorite Flight of the Conchords songs that you can't get on one of their albums.
Yeah.
Because I don't know why. It's just never been on one.
Yeah.
And I might have it I have like the equivalent of what feels like when you would record a cassette tape off the radio of that song that I have, just so it comes up and shuffle on my phone. It's wonderful.
I think if it was either during college or right after college, somebody tuned me into the HBO special of Flight of the Conchords, which is unbelievable, and all the songs you eventually see in the series. So I was Jenny.
That one's also not on albums, and I have that one the same way. It's so good from that special. Sorry, please continue.
And a great beginning to it. It's the first song they put on that special. And so I was prepared for that and in on Flight of the Conchords pretty early, thanks to my buddy introducing me to it. And
nice.
But still one of my favorite things from the entire series. I mean, it was fun seeing all the songs woven in from that special and how they were going to do it in a sitcom-ish format. But any of the New Zealand tourism posters that are in Murray's office were my favorite running gag of the whole thing. Like,
it's so
New
good.
Zealand, bring your mom, just so many good ones.
I can happily say I've seen them twice live, which is great. The best time I saw them was when it was their show, and they were at Arthur Ashe in Forest Hills, New York.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
They played there, and it was just not the main tennis thing area. They have like that side stage at Arthur Ashe. That was fucking fantastic. They were amazing. The other time I saw them was a kind of amazing historically, because I loved them, but you could tell things weren't going to go well. This was do you remember a few years ago when Dave Chappelle was in Hartford and walked off the stage and yelled at the crowd? That was...
yeah, I think so.
I was at that show. That was the wrong audience. It was at a day-long comedy festival with drinking and lawn seats. So by the time the headliners came on, the crowd was most of the crowd was gone. Yeah. I was so excited for Flight of the Conchords, and all the people around me were angry they weren't Dave Chappelle. And then Dave Chappelle came on, and they heckled Dave Chappelle, and he walked off the stage. And I was like, well, this fell apart quickly. So, yeah.
Okay.
It was really too bad, because I loved them. They were great. They did their whole set, and I was excited to see Chappelle. And obviously this was in that period kind of before he's the figure he is now. Sure. Because he's a little more divisive now than he was then. This, I think this was, I don't remember that was. I want to say it was like 2012 or something like that, but maybe 2013. But it was crazy. I'm so glad I went and saw them the second time at the Arthur Ashe, and that was perfect. And I have a poster from it on my wall. So I'm glad I got one good, perfect concert experience from them. But anyway, fun aside, that I was at that famous Chappelle show, and no one ever talks about the fact that the Flight of the Conchords were on right before him. So, yeah, getting booed and or lack of response, which infuriated me.
Yeah, some people
do better, Connecticut.
Yeah,
you drunken assholes.
No arguments
sitting
here.
In your lawn all day. Yeah. Anyway, what else you got? What else do you watch?
That was pretty much it. Had been sort of a busy week from other parts of life, so I didn't get a chance to watch as much TV as possible or consume media, but that was about the extent of it.
I am this was now our third episode, and technically fourth, that I am knee deep into my now obsession, love, and forever cherishing New Girl. Still watching it for the first time. As of this recording, last night I finished season 5, episode 12.
Yep.
And I don't remember which one that was now at this point. I just remember that was my mark off point. The show's amazing. And listen, I can't remember what episodes I've talked about it in depth and when I haven't, because I know I talked about it when I was first starting it, and I was like scared of the hype. The first one, I remember I said I watched part of the first season, but everyone got so excited, I don't know if the hype will have me go back. And I did take like a solid week and a half off. Like, everyone needs to calm the fuck down. And then I got back into it on my own time, and I love it. And I'm obsessed with all the cast and everybody in it. They're so good. And then I think at this time last week when we recorded the episode that is gone forever, I had been in the 3rd season. So I've watched about a season and a half in the week since. And it's just, I had 2 seasons in the week since, because I have a problem and I'm binging it so hard. I'm actively at the point where I know I only have because this last season's only like 13 episodes.
Yeah.
So I have, I think, 13 more here, an entire 6th season, and 13th and the 7th. And now I'm like looking at like a survivor on an island who thought rescue was coming, so he ate a bunch of his rations because it didn't matter, and now he's realizing he only has so much food left, and he's like, how do I make this last? How do I sustain on this experience? Because I did too much too soon, and now I'm not going to have it anymore. It's perfect. It's so good and fun. I will say that when I had started watching the third season again is when Damon Wayans Jr. as Coach had just come back and joined the cast for like a season and a half. And now that he's gone again, I don't know what it just says, but like Winston was such a better character. Thank God that whatever happened at the start of the show happened, because I would take Winston over Coach all day long. And Coach leaving has not affected the show at all. He is like a non-factor. He showed up and he left, and none of it really mattered.
So, and I think it worked out for everybody, actually, because he was really good on, oh God, what's the ABC show he went on?
No, it couldn't have been that good.
I guess not. Yeah, wow. No, Casey Wilson was in it, and
not a clue. Wasn't he in the Lethal Weapon TV show?
He was. What the hell was the name of that?
Oh. This was the show he left New Girl the first time to do, or he left to do this the second time?
No, I think the first time he went on, I can't believe I can't find it.
I've got the internet. I'll find it.
Completely blanking.
Happy Endings?
That's the one, yeah.
Okay, never watched that one. I heard it was fun.
So I don't know. I really thought it was funny. I really enjoyed it. I would be curious to see if you would be interested in it. It has a lot of elements, I think, that New Girl plays on comedically.
Okay.
I think you would enjoy it, but I'm always cautious with certain things like that because some people just aren't in on it. I always loved it and thought it was really, really funny.
Looking at the recurring cast, looking at some of the people in it, this looks pretty solid. And on May 10th, 2013, Happy Endings was canceled by ABC after 3 seasons.
Yeah.
Their erratic scheduling. ABC's erratic scheduling of the third season, the season's lower ratings and subsequent cancellation, was called one of the worst TV decisions of the season by pop culture website Vulture. I have a feeling Vulture edited this Wikipedia to put that paragraph second. Because, yeah, sure, but why is that second in the Wikipedia? Anyway.
It was like very well beloved, but I don't know if it was the ratings or they just decided it wasn't working or whatever.
So, do you ever get the feeling sometimes that I feel like this happens? You talk about, on one hand, because I always reference it, Cheers was saved by an executive who just liked it. It was barely it was the worst, rated show of the 1982 season, but an executive liked it, so it was saved. On the flip side, sometimes I think there are shows where an executive, like a new executive, takes over and doesn't have the attachment to it. And it's just like, why are we doing this? And they do things to actively kill it. They move schedules. They play around with when it can air and formats and stuff. I'm trying to think of, there are definitely moments where it seems like an executive is actively trying to kill a project that they don't get, that they didn't have something to do with, that they don't have an investment in. And then that's I could see maybe something like that happening. Just keep moving it around. Let's get rid of it. Let's burn off the episodes. Fuck this shit. Anything else before I tackle? I did watch. I didn't watch anything else new because I've been binging New Girl, but I've been alternating my binging of New Girl with rewatching Dexter. And I was I just finished the second season when we talked last. I am now in the third season. And I had really fond memories of the third season because I love Jimmy Smits, and I remember really liking it when it aired. I don't like it as much as I remembered liking it.
Yeah.
Jimmy Smits' acting isn't very good in it. Like, I remembered, because I like Jimmy Smits a lot, and he's so good on West Wing, and he was great in a bunch of other random shit that I can't remember. I feel like he was definitely in one of the procedural shows. But I remembered him being great, and I remembered loving this. His acting just feels so ham-fisted, for lack of a better term. I don't know, man. It doesn't feel like genuine. I feel he's acting for what I'm trying to say.
I seem to recall too towards the end of that season too. It seemed like his motivation felt very plot shoved. Like,
Yeah.
kind of like he flipped that switch to understanding Dexter's quote unquote system much quicker than most people of the law would.
For what would happen for a lot of Dexter, what they did should have taken more episodes sometimes. Not always, because sometimes Dexter would drag things out, but that particular, they should have had Miguel. Now, obviously, I wouldn't want to get rid of season 4, Trinity, the perfect season of Dexter.
Mm-hmm.
But shove that down to season 5, you get a perfect 5th season. I think you really needed 2 seasons with Miguel, one to build the friendship, one to fall out the friendship, because that would have meant more. And it meant, especially because the audience would have trusted him if you had ended the season, fully ended without even a hint of betrayal, right?
Yeah.
Have that, and then still kind of slowly build it in the next season. Don't have it obvious, but that was, as much as I love Dexter, even at the height of Dexter, they did not deal in subtlety. They were always the most obvious, knock you over the head with shit. The show, aside, there's a reason Breaking Bad took it over, right? Because it was revolutionary TV, but also could not grow or adapt. They tried to shove a lot of that first season model onto everything else they ever did. And the best time they ever replicated it was season 4, was Trinity, because they went outside the box. Set aside the ending to season 4. Spoilers, not whatever, I don't care. Set aside the ending to season 4. Season 4 is good, but doesn't rank as highly as it does without that ending. It's the same shit that you've done every other year. Am I wrong? Tell me if I'm wrong.
Yes, but someone got the better of him. Right?
Wait, I'm wrong, or I'm not wrong? What were you saying? Yes?
I thought you were saying, is this the...
If you get rid of... I'd asked you 2 questions that you said yes, and I was like, uh-oh, that's bad hosting. So, my initial question was, you get rid of the ending, is season 4 still as highly regarded as season 4 is?
Oh, no, of course not.
Yeah. Because my thought was, without that ending, season 4 is just another cookie cutter Dexter season.
Got you.
And then I had said, am I wrong? And,
I was conflating that with us talking about Jimmy Smith's flipping. I was saying if, yeah. Okay.
I see. Yeah. No, sorry. I had said set aside. The problem was that I was saying that Dexter had quickly fallen into a pattern. And
yes,
all the moments I think people love of the show when it aired and when you watch it on a rewatch, all the moments people love are when they break their own mold. And the problem is they weren't creative enough to constantly become new things in that way. It got so cookie cutter.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was my week of watching. Just, I was working a lot, and anytime I wanted to watch something, it was New Girl's new to me. That's the old NBC slogan, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I haven't seen it, it's new to me.
New to you, yep.
But unfortunately, it's probably not new to most other people. So that's all I have for you for the week.
Yeah, fair enough.
So, our original topic in the episode that makes me cry because it's gone forever was we had picked 6 genres of horror. And we each picked a movie that we would talk about in that genre, why we love it, why it's our one that we would recommend to other people. It's our pick for that genre. We went back and forth, so we gave you 12 recommendations. My goodness, was it a delight. Much like I mentioned with Alien Romulus, we can't just rehash that list for you. From a personal standpoint, we were talking about it, is the episode would sound like we're reading stereo instructions, right? Half the fun of our show is us finding things to talk about, argue with, banter with, surprises at the picks, reacting to the picks. It would have felt forced. It would have felt staged. It wouldn't have felt as fun to us. So Randy was kind enough to brainstorm on this because I was a depressed mess and checked out for the week. I just couldn't be bothered. I was like, oh, we're still doing the show? Whatever. I thought it was over now. I thought we were done. And he came up with a fun framework idea to take what we had done and try to put a new spin on it. Randy, lay it out for the people.
So from the 6 genres that we picked, I thought of the idea to say, okay, there's generally a big bad or a ultimate villain that the protagonists are trying to get away from or trying to stop. And what if we took one of those villains and put them into our movie picks from these 6 genres? So to try and think of a major, and I think because neither of these are the picks that I had, I think I gave you the example of what if you did I Know What You Did Last Summer in The Fisherman, which is the killer. I think his name is Ben. Ends up being, spoiler, sorry, I know hasn't seen that in 30 years, but and we replaced with the girl from The Ring. So it's like, what does that look like? So now granted, she comes out of TV.
So this is what I was going to ask.
Yeah.
This was, I almost asked this over the text, but I wanted to see how we figure this out while recording.
Yes.
Because to me, horror villains have motivation. 9 times out of 10, they have very personal motivation for why they're killing, what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Is when we replace the killer, are we replacing the motivation, or did the girl from The Ring accidentally get hit by these teenagers and now she has the powers of The Ring tape? She has the confines of having to be on The Ring tape. All of her like horror stuff works the same way, but is her motivation she got run over by Jennifer Love Hewitt and her friends? And this is actually important to me. This sounds like a gag, but to me, the horror movies work. The villains have motivation to do what they're doing, and they're very structured in that way. So I personally have to know, either are these victims from I Know What You Did Last Summer finding this tape and it's those same characters and their motivations and they're in that, or did Ring Girl get hit and someone was filming it and now that's on tape and the movie goes as normal?
So I think we get a little bit of leeway either way, right? So because obviously there is no perfect scenario for these where one can just be dropped into a situation and it will work perfectly. Right. So I think that we can massage it a little bit, but I think it makes more sense if she was hit in that instance, right? So we can kind of make that distinction as we
don't have to write the movie, but I need to know why and how necessarily in this new scenario.
And that's why I thought that it was an interesting exercise, because you can't just blindly throw a horror movie villain into another movie unless there's something that sort of weaves through.
To your point, I thought about that because I thought my slasher pick is A Nightmare on Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors, my favorite Freddy movie. Mm-hmm. It's the first time that they really explored the dreamscape, fighting back in your dreams, having powers, manipulating the dream world to take it to Freddy. It's a really fun, creative movie. And I thought, if you just drop Jason in that, he just walks through and slits their throats while they're sleeping, and the movie takes 10 minutes. And it's a short film about Jason just murdering people in a mental hospital. There's no dreams. They're the Dream Warriors. What's that mean? I don't know. Maybe they're in a band. They're all dead now. That's the whole movie. That's what I was thinking. I was like, how do I handle this? How do I get this to the movie? Do I replace something?
Now, that being said, this doesn't have to be a perfect thing. It could just be a fun thing. Like, it could totally be that. Like, if you wanted that to be the case, I would not object to it, just because that's the fun of this. It's not necessarily grounded in reality of a movie that we're releasing.
I love it. My exercise, the rings I was going through in my head was that, and this is the problem with my brain right now, is not only was I wanting to replace the killer, I was wanting to replace the killer, but also still get a good movie out of it. Like, if I were to
I think we're well past that, but
I was thinking, like, if I were to do that, who would I replace it with? Who could give me the same bits that I like? Not the same scenes, but who would get me the same vibes of that movie to give me something that I would enjoy, is how I was trying to process it.
Gotcha.
And I think I can still get there on some of these. That said, because I was, mentally shut down and depressed about last week, I didn't put a ton of thought into this. I would love it, if you don't mind, if you started with one while I process.
All right. So I will I'm going a little bit out of order just because this is the first one that I sort of had formulated, but I'm gonna start with my supernatural pick, which was Poltergeist, and I'm going to replace the.
Sorry, I just remembered we lost like one of my favorite. No, wait, was that? No, never mind. I was thinking we lost one of my favorite bits where we joked about your wife wanting to fuck the TV, but that was the Ewan McGregor one from like 3 weeks ago, which is probably why I was thinking of Poltergeist. I got to not think about last week's episode. And if a reference comes up from here on out, I'm letting it go. Sorry. Anyway, go back.
As an aside, I'm not sure my wife wants to fuck the TV, but yeah.
Sorry. It was, she wanted to fuck Ewan McGregor, and it was Poltergeist, and she got sucked into the TV.
Right. That's true. We did.
There was something that had brought up Poltergeist, and I shouldn't have stopped you, because if that happens again and it's the wrong thing, I look like an asshole.
No.
Sorry. Two apologies. Two apologies. One, sorry for derailing you. Two, sorry for insinuating your wife wanted to fuck a television cold with no context to that.
Yes.
So anyway,
Ewan McGregor presence, understood.
I'll be quiet. Please lay out your thing. I'll be quiet. Thank you.
And you're gonna probably rip apart this scenario, and that's fine. But for my supernatural replacement, so in place of the poltergeists and the beasts, so there were a few of the, for lack of a better term, fun-loving ghosts that are just kind of annoying.
Yeah, he's a real fun-loving guy.
Yeah. Not the beat, but the other ones. The other ones were kind of just messing with them. They weren't really doing anything.
I thought you were talking about that famous sequel, The Beast Beat Blanket Bingo, where he goes down to a dun, 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 dun. Anyway.
Yes. And I'm going to replace him with Chucky from Child's Play.
Oh, that's fun. I like the characters enough to want to see them get tormented by Chucky.
And that's my point, is that I think that they could still, while the premise of getting pulled into the parallel world probably isn't applicable there, and so that may have to have been massaged, there's a lot of unexplained things that Chucky could help do because they would be not aware of a doll taking this. The doll could talk to the kids, and the kids would, be saying certain things back to the parents. It's similar sort of how the main character of Child's Play was saying Chucky was doing things, but was not always believed. And I think there is something there that, and like you said, I think that would just be, from a horror standpoint, wildly entertaining to see this demonic doll.
You can still bring in whatever the hell Zelda Rubinstein, her character, Tangina the psychic, right?
Which she would have some possible knowledge of voodoo or that sort of demonic possession. So that would work as well. So there you go. That's
I can't give you a good quote or necessarily. I just have this image though of, because of the heights, and she was so small. I have this image of them looking almost eye to eye of like what Carrie. Is it Carrie Ann? Was that the kid's name?
Yeah.
And Carrie Ann and Chucky, and he's swearing at her. And she screams because she's the part of that movie was her. That scene is happening.
I have my
Shut the fuck up, Carrie Ann.
My one line that will be iconic then will just be Chucky dresses up in a kid's blonde wig and is looking at the TV and turns around and goes, "I'm here."
Yes, I like that. I like that a lot. That's good. You know what? You did it.
One for one.
Good work out of you. My 2 picks for psychological. I want Clarice Starling from Silence of the Lambs to have to interview and figure out something from Gary Oldman's Dracula, from Bram Stoker's Dracula, the Francis Ford Coppola one.
All right.
And just because I think it would be hilarious, and also they're gonna fuck. He is gonna mind control her so bad she'll break out of it. She is a strong-willed woman. She is our hero. She will take him down before he escapes. Something will happen. He will lead her to Buffalo Bill because the smell of the flesh, he can track it. It's how it's going to work. But before all that, they gonna fuck. Because if there's one thing Gary Oldman's Dracula does, is he is gonna fuck. That's what he does. He's a sexy guy. He's a sexy Dracula. He's a cool, hip, sexy Dracula. Not one of those he looks rotten at one point, but overall, he's a cool, hip, sexy Dracula.
Wow. That's,
I just have the visual of them standing against the glass, and he just like brings her in really close, and it's erotic as fuck. It's an erotic thriller now. Silence of the Lambs is now Silence of the Dick. It's how it works. She remembers it. She remembers the noise and then the silence of the dick.
Wow. Silence.
Does that speech not work anymore? It's acting, Randy. It's acting.
The sheep bleeding takes on a totally different context in this regard.
No.
But
Oh my! Listen. I'm not saying she's fucking the sheep. It's fine.
No.
No, I got you. I got you.
Never mind.
I just want to. I don't get it. Please explain.
No, I don't want to.
No. I'm going to sit here quietly and wait for you to tell me what you mean.
Too bad. Moving on.
Crazy.
No, but there have been more than a few instances of me asking you asking me to explain a few things in depth about that. I'm not going to do it. So.
Listen. This may not be the right time, but okay, can we have a private conversation?
Oh boy, no.
Hey, listen, no one, like 100 people listen to this a month, so it's almost a private conversation, right? Our numbers don't burn the doors down.
It's an international conversation, though.
I've been meaning to ask you, Randy, leaning close. I've been meaning to ask you, and someone's found my mind. How are babies made?
Yes, you've asked this before.
Have I? Then why didn't you tell me? Because I don't remember.
Yes. When a mommy loves a daddy, and never mind.
Yeah.
On we go.
See, I'm going to keep asking until you tell me. That's the problem.
It's made all the more comfortable by you talking closer to the microphone, let me tell you. So
I don't know what you're talking. I don't know, Randy. I just want to know how babies are made, and you won't tell me. And if you just tell me, I'd be able to move on. But I guess we'll have to bring it up another week. It's fine.
I suppose so. So.
Also, I just noticed your log line, your name for this record, which makes me think that you haven't actually watched those Chucky movies, because that's wildly inaccurate. It's Chucky having a son is gross. And that is actually completely inaccurate, because Chucky has, and I'm not joking, Chucky had a son and a daughter, and they were split, and they were joined. And once they were joined, he is gender fluid. And so now it's a they. Chucky's child is both genders and all that. So
you've turned this inflammatory and throwing back at me as a wild misconception and misinterpretation of my sentence there.
Oh, Chucky having a son is gross. The
act of dolls fucking is gross.
Oh, okay, my bad.
That's what I meant.
Sorry.
Wow. Okay.
No, I just thought it was that you.
No.
Hang on. I actually wasn't going for the other thing that you're probably thinking I'm saying. I thought you were saying the concept of him having like a son, like a son in general, like a boy to raise was nasty. No. And I was like, I genuinely was like, well, hang on. That means you haven't seen the fact that he's gender fluid. Like, not from a hate speech standpoint, from he doesn't know the movie standpoint is what I was going for. So that was on me. So
I was aware of that. Candidly, I came up with that very, very quickly, and I was thinking about putting Child's Play in my other one, so I put that, and I said, oh yeah, didn't he end up having a kid because he? Yeah, I don't remember how it worked, but anyway.
There's always listen. Whatever you're thinking in the Chucky franchise, if you're not quite sure how it worked, the answer was a voodoo curse.
Yeah,
and that's which is amazing, because behind the scenes production note on that was one of the few things that was changed in the lead up to the original film that they didn't like how it happened. And then it became like one of the most important parts of the entire franchise. And so the creator, who, again, we talked about Don Mancini before, who just adores Chucky, who has seen it through from its earliest days to the current sci-fi series that just ended that was very well regarded, he leans into it. He doesn't ignore any of its continuity. Like the sci-fi series deals with every movie they've ever made, deals with its own new stuff. It's amazing. But the voodoo stuff is a big part of it. And he's like, I'm not going to ignore, just because I didn't want it in the 80s, I'm not going to ignore it now. And I'm like, that's pretty great. That it's funny to me that the one thing he didn't really like became this cornerstone of something he had to deal with.
That's amazing.
Anyway, looking at my next picks, I feel like I blew my load on vampires thinking of the joke, because my next thought was going to be Return of the Living Dead, my comedy choice with vampires, but instead, no, they run too. I was going to say I could make it the fast vampires, but Return of the Living Dead has vampires of all sizes, types, speeds. I feel like if I was going to take Return of the Living Dead, which is an amazingly hilarious zombie horror comedy, that raunchy, ridiculous, the height of the 80s. I said before, it's my ultimate. I cannot recommend this enough as the Halloween season approaches. If you are going to be in a group situation, wanting to watch a movie that will please a group of people, holy shit, Return of the Living Dead is your film.
Yeah.
It's 80s, it's comedy, it's gross, it's inappropriate. It's everything. It's the total package for a group Halloween experience. But my thought would be then, I'm going back and forth with taking the 80s punks and putting them in a new scenario, or replacing the monsters that they're having to deal with in their scenario, which I don't want to take those 80 punks out of the 80s. This is not a Brady Bunch movie situation where the 70s family is suddenly living in the 90s or something. So I'm trying to replace, I think, those characters. I joked about Jason off the top with nightmare characters where it doesn't work. I think, honestly, you take those same hilarious punks and you put them in a Friday the 13th movie and it works almost as well. The best part is one of the punks was in a Friday the 13th movie.
Wow.
Like a year later, and he has a notoriously bizarre, famous scene where he is murdered in an outhouse complaining about eating enchiladas. So there is a very famous, I think it's Friday 6, where one of the punks in Return, and you'd know him, he's got the Jerry curl. I can't remember his name in either movie, but he has that still same like oily soul glow Jerry curl in both films. He has the same haircut. There are certain Friday scenes. No Friday is ever going to make my list of best horror movies, but there were scenes that will make my favorite horror scenes. And this one is when he has the trots on an outhouse and he's on a date and his girl is singing to him through the door. And the song has to be so that there's no rights. So they're just making up and they're like, ooh, baby, ooh, baby. And they keep going back and forth. And then the girl goes, ooh, baby. And then all of a sudden he's murdered with a knife on the outhouse. He's sitting on the shitter and he's got a knife dragged through.
Oh, how nice.
That guy has to fight. He can't escape fighting Jason in my world. So
that's, I like it.
Thank you. And there will, of course, in my mind, however you make them, there will be an homage scene where maybe he doesn't have to go to the bathroom, or maybe he has to shit his pants again. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So, I do think that there will be a scene where the Linnea Quigley character, who in Return of the Living Dead becomes like the zombie queen, and she dances around naked the entire film and is just a bizarre, like, weird, naked, ghostly figure. She's going to try to fuck Jason. She probably does fuck Jason. Ooh, there's more fucking in this. I didn't expect there so much to be fucking in my pitches.
This as well.
This was not planned. This was not planned by me. That's the problem with dealing in horror. It's very sexy, Austin. It's very sexy horror.
There you go.
I will try beyond try to have my next pitch not end in someone having sex. I really will. I promise that. I absolutely promise you my next pitch will not involve sex. Please continue.
I'm going to go with psychological, which my selection was the movie Seven. So I'm going to take John Doe out of the mix, and I'm going to make people... I'm going to change some of this movie to adhere to this villain, but now the architect of the Seven Deadly Sins killings is going to be Pinhead from Hellraiser.
Oh, I like that a lot. That's really good. That's really fucking good.
So, because I think that there is still a lot of things that could translate with, you could still have...
that's the best one so far. That's
Morgan Freeman's character. There could be some sort of, because Pinhead sort of adheres to a specific code, right? That he could end up being the final casualty because, you know, he's technically invulnerable, but things can be reversed, right? So if it's part of his overall plan to work this through, I think, right? Am I?
I'm sorry.
Am I wrong?
It's so good. No, you're perfectly right. I'm just thinking about everything I just said and how erotic those first two Hellraiser movies are, where they're like, they border on softcore porn at certain points. And we tried to get away from it, guys. I swear. We tried. Those lust scenes in New 7 are going to be hot. They are going to be fucking hot. It is going to be crazy. Can you imagine Brad Pitt, whatever Hellraiser comes up, or Pinhead comes up with for Hellraiser 7, which is what it will be called with a colon?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway, I didn't mean to take it back there, but those also, can we, oh man, remember the scene in the first movie, which is one of the most iconic gore scenes of all time, where the body is rebuilt from a puddle to a full flesh figure?
Mm-hmm.
You have to get some kind of element of that effect in. What sin would that work with? Where someone was flayed or rebuilt, or even instead of being brought up, they're melted down. Like, where could you tie in that iconic moment?
I'm trying to remember, was Vanity one of the sins?
It definitely was. Yeah.
So we could definitely do that because it's someone not, you know, never, or I don't know, maybe it's, you know, the person was addicted to plastic surgery and all this other stuff, reduced to the puddle and then brought back as just their normal self, you know,
or some sort of twist within that. But yeah, that's good. I will say this is my favorite so far, to the point where like, it's weird to me how I don't see a lot of the movie changing, aside from there's a couple of scenes. Because when you think of the first Hellraiser too, Pinhead became your big horror villain to drive in the sequels. The main crux of the first movie is not Pinhead. He's not in it a lot. You could do 7 with Pinhead and the Cenobites and not change, I'd say, 85% of that movie.
Sure.
It works. And that really blows my mind. I'd never thought about it that way. I like that one a lot.
Cool. See? So that's a fun exercise. So it's a movie I would I would not probably watch Chucky antagonizing the Poltergeist family that much. I mean, to watch it for comedic value, but I could see myself watching this, you know, once or twice just to kind of see the things that are, well, this could be a more interwoven type movie that has a lot of depth to it.
Absolutely. So for my wild card pick, I had chose Reanimator. And the thing about Reanimator is, what's so great about it is, there's not a lot of heroes in it. There are your main characters who are less evil and less stupid than the truly evil and stupid. But it's just there's a lot of gas. The real villain of Reanimator is gaslighting, where Dan just keeps getting talked into going along with every stupid thing that Herbert West does. So to me, to make this movie really fascinating, I wouldn't replace Herbert West. I would replace Dan, who you have to put someone new with Dan to deal with Herbert and everything that's going on around him.
Yep.
And I thought, who would make for a fun movie, but is also someone that could be manipulated enough to just keep going along with his bullshit? And it would be Matthew Lillard's character from Scream.
That's great.
He would be over the top. He'd be exacerbated. He'd be yelling about it, but he would just keep getting talked into murdering people or reanimating people or breaking into somewhere. And every time he would start to hesitate, just like he kind of does in Scream, even though he had motivations. I really do think, as evil as he was in Scream, Billy's the real villain. And he manipulated
along for the ride.
What the hell is Matthew Lillard's character's name in that one? Because it's Billy and Matthew Lillard, and that is not how that works. So Stu Macher.
Stu, right? Yep.
So I think somehow Stu Macher is in Scream didn't happen, but Stu Macher is still Stu Macher. He's impressionable. He's gonna be corrupted by somebody. He goes to college. and he goes to the college, and he winds up in a class with Herbert West. He needs a roommate. Herbert West winds up living with him, and the rest of the movie plays the same, except instead of Barbara Crampton's girlfriend, it can be Rose McGowan, and all the same stuff can happen. So I just see him freaking out to his dead cat in the freezer, like, what are you doing, Herbert, you can't do that, man. And then, what am I gonna do, Stu? Leave a note? Cat dead, details later. Herbert. I think you get the same movie with even more comedy and more ridiculousness.
I love it. That's a good one.
Thank you. I'm getting there. Had I not shut down in a depression over last week and thought about this for a day, I might have really had even more for you.
Gotcha.
But I'm coming up with a lot of these as we talk, so I'm very proud of that one.
Yes, I did a little bit of research into it when I pitched it the other day, but I'm doing somewhat some similar stuff too.
Oh, we're on it, baby. We're living the dream. So just to confirm, I want to make sure that we cover this. I've done my wild card.
Yep.
You've done and my comedy and my
psychological, right?
Psychological. You have done your supernatural.
I've done my supernatural.
Yeah, that was both.
Yep.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm going to go to my comedy next. So my comedy pick was What We Do in the Shadows, which I guess we just talked about the TV version.
Movie, not the TV.
About the movie.
Yeah,
correct,
the movie
yes.
specifically. Yes.
And I'm going to bring, there wasn't really, I guess, technically a big bad. I'm adding a character to this, I guess, more than anything.
Love it. Perfect.
So I'm going to make the What We Do in the Shadows folks deal with Freddy Krueger.
That is inspired. When they dream and the things that they go on and the things that they do.
Which this should just be called The Frustration of Freddy Krueger, this movie, because that's really all it would be.
Somehow, and I don't know how, he is finally defeated by Colin Robinson. I don't know how it happens, but that's how it happens. Colin Robinson is too mundane. Colin Robinson is too mundane to have a dream that Freddy could really manipulate to do anything with.
And Freddy gets too bored.
Yeah, and Freddy can't do anything in his dreams. He is immortal. Everything that happens is a Colin Robinson. Colin Robinson is more of the master of the dreamscape because of how boring he is than Freddy. And that's how it ends.
He comes through the wall. Did you know there's more asbestos in the average wall than like? And then Freddy's just covered in asbestos. Like what the hell's going on?
You're more in danger than I am at this point. Really, that's true.
Well, I think it would be funny in the movie. It would definitely be even funnier in the TV show. Yes, that's very inspired there.
Oh God, you're right. I went TV show instead of
but
movie.
It would still. I think it still works because
for this big budget adaptation, we can combine the cast of both. Because you're right. Because I wasn't thinking of the movie because I love those characters, but I'm so attached to the TV show version now that
I still think it works. That they go to sleep or whatever, and he shows up and he's trying to scare them. He's like, "Oh, knives, huh?" or something.
You're absolutely right. They would be so nonchalant about it that it would be
because they're already dead. So I mean,
yes.
That's part of it.
And then, so would they still? Undead, is there a threat where they still could die in their dreams, or is it just he's tormenting them for no reason, or is he tormenting them? He's tormenting them because they can never die, so he can always have people to fuck with.
Yeah, maybe that works.
I like that. That works. Although, again, I keep thinking of the TV show, and I keep thinking of sex, because there's no way that Laszlo doesn't die in an orgy. He dies in some sort of dream Freddy orgy. That's how it goes. So, I will get away from sex in this horror comedy.
Okay.
So, I think my monster choice was The Thing. I love The Thing. It's in a lot of obviously the elements of The Thing are playing with fear of who is who and who can you trust. And a lot of that would go, but you would get the same vibes of fear and shadows and isolation, more importantly, if you put one of the xenomorphs from Alien in the Antarctic base. you still can have the same characters. You still can have the same setting. You will get heightened fear. You still will get flamethrowers. You will get so much. But could you imagine McCready and Childs having to fight a xenomorph at the end? They still light the base up to try to take him out, but instead, and they could still basically die alone together up there. But almost everything could be the same except for a few tense scenes of who can you trust, because they're fighting the xenomorph. Also, Wilford Brimley gets infected, and that's why they lock him up in the shed, because he gets infected and they don't know what's going to happen with him. And he's like, he wakes up and he's like, I'm fine. You can let me out now. I'm fine. You can let me out. And then they let him out. And that's when the chestburster comes out and just wrecks everybody.
Oh,
And yeah, poor Wilford Brimley. But I think that could be fun. And you get so many of the character moments of them freaking out and reacting to things. And I think, like, you think of the famous scene with the doctor where his hands get bitten off. To me, somehow that turns into acid blood. There's something with acid blood there. And he still gets dissolved in half, which means you could still hire that nice amputee who helped film the scene. I'm thinking about the real world. You know, you're trying to give people, you don't want to cost people jobs. That's how this works. So what am I, a monster? Not in this one. I'm a hero. So I really think that the Xenomorph would be a fun fit with the same characters in the same setting.
Cool. I like that a lot.
Thank you. See, that's the problem, though, is now I picked one that was too good. We're trying to argue about something or debate something, and we're both, for our last two picks, we're just like, boy, that's perfect. Crickets. Crickets. Crickets.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with my slasher.
Oh, yeah.
And I picked Scream as my slasher because I love that movie. And I'm going to go a little bit... It changes the movie a little bit, but you can still poke fun at some of the horror tropes, but I think it's a scarier movie if we use the Smile Demon from Smile.
I have not seen that movie.
Okay.
I have seen the trailers, and I know that somehow someone who is infected can't stop smiling, but that's about it. So, spoil me. I don't care. Give me the whole breakdown. I don't give a fuck. Oh, spoiler warning, listeners.
Yeah.
Or what is it, 2019 when it Smile come out? Yeah.
Yeah, they just had Smile. They just had Smile 2 come out. Yeah, so the Smile Demon inhabits a person, and then it is passed on if someone witnesses their demise.
Okay.
So the person that witnesses their demise, the demon is passed on to them. I think it just takes the place of Ghostface, but the difference being now the killer is still sort of unknown because it keeps moving around to different people, but we have to change the deaths a little bit to make sure that someone's always watching the deaths.
I love that from a visual standpoint. I love that from an execution standpoint. Can I ask, somehow, in Smile, does it say, why is this demon doing this? Or is it just a thing that's happening?
It just gets like pleasure out of being evil.
Okay. And basically, I was just wondering, when the big reveal comes, is it somehow breaking down something that had happened with these people in this world? I wasn't sure if
I mean, I guess we'll spoil. The big reveal is when you see the Smile Demon, and it's kind of like it, right? Like it's
and it's the big yellow smiley face from the 70s that Forrest Gump made? That's amazing.
It is a freaky looking thing that has a bunch of like smiles on it. I don't know how to really describe it, but no, it's like it where, it is revealed to be this giant, super scary spider thing, in its final form.
Yeah.
So like it's the same idea that you see all the people with the creepy ass smiles anyway, and then it's revealed to be this kind of giant, horrifying looking, like it doesn't even have, it has just a bunch of smiles as part of its face. It's hard to describe. You can probably look it up, but
I'll look it up I'll look it up right now. Smile Demon, the Smile entity. Oh, look at that. That's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a happy-looking guy. He's a happy guy.
Very jovial, yeah.
He's a happy guy. What a looking. I wouldn't be scared because he's smiling, and I'd be dead probably in about 2 seconds.
Yes.
So it's funny, based on what your pitch there and the jokes we've made about the sex stuff. I was genuinely trying to figure out: is there a way that you could work? Did you ever see It Follows?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Is there a way that you could tie any of these into that movie? For anyone that doesn't know It Follows, there's a monster movie, almost like a slasher movie, monster supernatural. Like, it hits a lot of genres, but the killer is transmitted via STD.
Right.
And that sounds like a gag, but it's treated very seriously and deals with a lot of like really interesting emotional themes. It's very good. And I just thought, is there any way that monster could be worked into another movie? And maybe Friday the 13th, because they just are fucking everywhere. But that's not a Friday the 13th movie. That's just campers having sex. So yeah. I don't know what to say. Anyway, I'll probably move on from that. I was trying to see if there was somewhere that could work in, because I liked that movie. I thought that was pretty good. I still have to figure out my slasher. I either need to put Freddy somewhere, which you already have and expertly, or I need to replace something in A Nightmare on Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors. My jokey thing of Jason, again, that's a 10-minute short film. That's not how it works. There's no stakes there. There's nothing that's going to happen there. It's got to be something bigger. And maybe it is... Talk through this with me. Okay. In my mind, I want to put something as big and iconic in there. Or do I make Lawrence Fishburne's orderly character, in his first on-screen credited role, by the way, do I just make him Morpheus from The Matrix, and this whole movie just goes into a wild place? I know it's not horror, but boy, what a movie that would be. Kids, take your pills. We don't want to take our pills. You should take the blue pills, children. And you'll wake up into a world that you've never known. And he had it right from the beginning, didn't he? It was always about the pills.
That's an idea.
Fuck off. It's a great idea. It's a money idea. Every character that Lawrence Fishburne has ever played in every movie is actually Morpheus. That's my new pitch.
Oh, yeah?
When you watch every Lawrence Fishburne movie, it's the Morpheus cinematic universe. You can always say it's him because it's always just in the Matrix and he's something different. That's how it works.
There you go. Okay.
Don't you shit on the Fishburniverse.
Which I didn't know was a thing until now.
Yeah, I just created it. It's going to be really good.
I love it.
I want to pitch one other Fishburniverse movie before we get back to our actual topic. I'm going to scroll down. I want to look for something older. Oh, Pee-wee's Playhouse. That's Fishburniverse because he's the cowboy. It's so good. Let me look for. Was that his first credited? It was not his first credited on-screen role, by the way, but it was when he was still credited as Larry Fishburne instead of Lawrence Fishburne. FYI. Anyway, moving on to my actual fucking pick, which I don't have, which is why I'm stalling with Lawrence Fishburne jokes because I can't come up with anything for this fucking movie. Help me. Talk to me. Just start rambling off villains. And I'll find one. This is the hardest one for me. I had such a perfect slasher pick. This is my favorite slasher film of all time. The kills, the villain, the characters, everything about it is perfect. I am so stuck with trying to replace any aspect of this movie because of it works on an island.
What if... So you keep Freddy in the movie, but you introduce, and I'm blanking on the character's name, from Split.
That's like where there are multiple personalities?
So, and goes into fight Freddy in the dream world, but Freddy doesn't know that the beast is lurking, right?
Oh, yeah.
So Freddy thinks he's attacking one of the other personalities, and then the beast just gets unleashed, and uh-oh.
I like that a lot. Thank you for writing my pitch for me. That is now the pitch. That's why teamwork makes the dream work. Never write in a void, Randy.
Yeah.
When you write in a void, you get stuck, you get writer's block. You got to bounce ideas off people.
Yep.
Call us Hollywood call us M. Night for our Freddy split big pitch. I'm sure he listens. When I said we get like 100 listens an episode, I'm sure one of them is M. Night Shyamalan.
Clearly.
Yeah. That's good. So, God, I don't love any of that. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
I feel bad I couldn't come up with one just because you added Freddy to something, which is great. Taking Freddy out of a Freddy movie is fucking impossible because it's all insanity. It's all dreams and insanity. You have to come up with something that is just as insane, and I feel like you got there as best that you can.
All right. We can work with that. That being said, I may enlist your help here too on this one because I'm trying to figure out where I want to go. So my monster movie, which was given to much disdain from you.
Let me tell you, listeners, I think the saddest thing about losing last week's episode is my utter vitriol. Maybe actually it was my vitriol that wiped the record because it was only my track. His track's there. His cold takes still exist in the archives. What you don't get is me reacting and probably burning out my microphone and my system at his awful choice for a horror monster movie. Anyway, tell the people what it was, Randy.
Oh yeah, I picked Little Shop of Horrors, which Mike did not like that I did.
It's a comedy musical. Is there a monster in it? Sure. It's a comedy musical. It's a horrible fucking pick for a monster horror movie. Anyway.
Moving on.
No, we're not, because we're talking about this fucking pick.
Yes, you're right. So I was trying to figure out, there's a couple different things that I could use to swap out for Audrey 2. And I'll talk through a couple ideas, and if you have a better one, I'm all ears. But originally, because I was trying to think of something that people would at least try to come to see, right? And that some way, someone could have an attachment to, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my initial thought was the big fucking spider from the basement in Arachnophobia.
That's fun, yeah.
Which, is sort of a monster, right? Like, I guess.
Oh no, you're really playing in the monster adjacent territory. Please.
Yeah. The other one I was kind of thinking of what was the Dren, right? That was the hybrid from Splice.
I don't know Splice.
It was like a human.
I don't even think I've heard of Splice.
It was a human animal hybrid that who was in the movie? The guy
Adrian Brody, Sarah Polly. I don't know this movie at all. Wow. Oh, but no shock that there's weird body horror since Guillermo del Toro produced it. Didn't direct it, but he produced it. And when he gets involved, shit's gonna look weird.
There would be some running themes of of the fucking in this one, so just because
do tell.
Well, because
listen, horror and sex are intrinsically linked.
True.
Okay.
Well, no, because this thing sort of turns into a woman winged hybrid thing. So sex ends up happening with a human.
That turned you on?
Not me, but somebody. But I was thinking, because they develop it and then it's kind of the same idea that it evolves and grows and hey, look at this thing that would happen like that. That's kind of the same idea. So it's sort of in a freak show sort of thing that eventually continues to evolve as it's hybrid and could theoretically take over something. So if you haven't seen Splice, I guess that's a little bit trickier.
So, and it sounds like a joke, but, and again, I haven't seen the movie, so I'm talking out of my ass a little, but to go with your pick genuinely, would it be whatever this is somehow gets hybridized with Audrey, so Seymour is in love with it and trying to do something with it, and somehow there's a love story there, but also a monster movie and some horror based on, does he have to try to protect the things that this new Audrey hybrid is doing because he loves Audrey so much?
Maybe that's it. Yeah, because it's thrust upon becoming its caretaker, right?
Yeah.
This person, and then develops a relationship bond. I mean, that's kind of honestly in Splice, that's sort of what happened is the quote unquote father, which again, all sorts of not great metaphors there, but
Daddy.
Yeah.
No, just I was thinking of Hellraiser. Come to Daddy.
Yes.
The way he says that. Oh God,
So I think I like that better because it's just the other. The only thing I could think about with the spider, and maybe there's wasn't there a? I didn't see the movie, but wasn't there a movie that just came out that was an alien spider that was kept as a pet, and then it grew to like this monstrous size and it took over. What was it called?
Oh, was it Big Ass Spider? I'm Googling it right now.
No, careful with those results. Scare the shit out of you. But
Big Ass Spider movie. 2013, Big Ass Spider, a giant alien spider escapes from a military
I mean, this was
lab.
not Split. It's
That had Greg Grunberg and Ray Wise.
It starts with an S.
Super Big Ass Spider? Was it a sequel? We're not moving on till you figure it out, though. But then that was Spider-Man No Way Home. There were 3 spiders in it. That was...
20, was it earlier this year? Maybe it was. Sting. That's what it's called.
Oh, okay. It's not the life story of the professional wrestler? He just retired. It'd be a great time to do it.
It's not. No. No, I heard of the movie, so I guess I don't know. I haven't seen it. Child who's 11 or 12 is living in an apartment complex and finds a small spider that she keeps as a pet. But the spider is actually an alien that grows at an alarming rate. And then they lose power in the apartment complex, and the spider is essentially hunting the people in the as it grows larger and larger. So
that sounds very interesting.
Which is actually kind of Little Shop of Horror. You can think about it like its own.
Isn't that a song and a love story?
Let's do that. We'll do the alien spider from Sting. Will be our new.
But it's still on Skid Row, and they're trying to show people the spider. And it's
as an attraction to garner money. Yep.
Yeah. Da-doo. Oh no, the singer's just got eaten. That's a shame. That's a shame. Oh, they've just put Tisha Campbell in a web. I don't know her character's name. She was just one of the muses.
Oh, that's fun. You do the web stuff as opposed to okay.
Yeah. That's too bad. Da-doo. That's why there's only one voice just now. There's only one that got
all right.
Yeah.
One more of these, Mike.
By the way, I would like to know, because I can't let it go. Your backup pick. Tell the people what your backup monster pick was.
It was Gremlins.
Which is perfect. It was a perfect choice. It's a perfect monster horror comedy. Like, everything about it is a monster movie, especially the first one. Again, we don't need to rehash everything that we talked about, but I couldn't let this go. Because, by the way, before we were recording, this is how full of shit I am. I was like, just bring up stuff from the other episode if it comes up naturally. No, this wouldn't come up naturally. This is me needing to take you to task to say what a terrible fucking... You had it right there. You were right there. You were at the finish line and you stumbled.
So close, and yet...
Anyway, what haven't I picked? That's all. Is that all of them for me? Did I do them all? I feel like I'm missing one.
I have one left.
Supernatural?
So I think you have one left, yeah.
I have Supernatural left.
Okay.
Which because I've dealt so much in Supernatural in other areas, I haven't. My pick was Fright Night for Supernatural because, and my argument for that was he was not your monstrous vampire. He was your ethereal, spooky in the shadows. There's not a lot of action in Fright Night. There's a little bit, but it's very haunting, and you're dealing a lot of atmosphere and who's watching and who's lurking. And so to me, it was a very Supernatural style thing because he has these powers. When he's in the club and he's guiding through the floor and they're doing that, well, frankly, that erotic mind control dance with the lady who was unmarried with children. What the fuck is her character's name? What's her real name? Marcy Darcy. No, sorry, not her character.
Amanda Beard? No.
Yeah, Bierce. There it is.
Yeah.
And I'll always remember that her opening credits scene in Married with Children is when she stabs the salad and brings it up and there's a cigarette and she looks disgusted. There are certain credit scenes that are always in my mind, and hers is one of them. So, but that whole thing is just so spooky. And to me, then, if you're going to replace Jerry Dandridge and try to keep the element of this movie as I like it, you need to replace it with someone who is scary, charismatic, can exist in the shadows, and I'm stuck there because I didn't put the work in. So let's just go the other way and have them fight one of the Tremors from Tremors. Actually, it's the Graboids. No, I'm kidding. Let's not do that.
No, let's not do that. I mean, Hannibal Lecter's not bad here.
That would be good. Ooh, see, this is why this was your topic. This is why you came up with this idea. For real, these are great. These are great because it could be almost the same. And he's stalking him, and he's going to this doctor moved next door. Something's going on. I don't trust him. He calls Roddy McDowell, who can still be a horror host. He's like, I trust your instincts. And they go over, and eventually they catch him trying to eat Amanda Bierce. I'm in. That's it. There you go.
Sweet.
I like it. I feel like I was so bad at this. Maybe
it
with
was
more
kind
prep,
of sprung on you, yeah. So
yeah, but I also just don't. For as creative as I can be, I don't know how good I am at this type of exercise. I can come up with new scenarios all day long, or I can have some jumping off points, but trying to weave within a narrative of something that I already love, I feel so locked into what it needs to be and what it has to be. This is not necessarily my wheelhouse. Let's come up with something new, creative, and fucking insane. Let's come up with a sequel that's balls to the wall. But if you're trying to edit this already existing piece of media, I'm losing it. That's my fault.
Yeah,
I'm not quite there.
No
fault. I believe you have one more, sir.
It's a group, a group effort.
Sorry. Can I interrupt you, actually, with breaking news? Breaking news on our last episode. We have had, I was originally going to save one of these responses to the end, but in our last episode, which was the 90s Jim Carrey versus Robin Williams battle, we fought and we fought and we fought over 1995. And I begrudgingly wound up giving you fighting for Jim Carrey 95 when I really clearly still felt it should be Robin Williams. But in an attempt to get the episode to move on, and because you just wore me down, I eventually said, fine, Jim Carrey. It is 10:26 a.m. on October 28th. And we just got a text from a friend who listens and went, hang on, I'm coming to the end of this episode. Mike, you caved on 95, which just makes me feel so bad right now. I've already felt shit about this episode. Our episode didn't record. And now someone who clearly agrees with my choices is shitting on me, saying, I can't believe you gave in to this madman. And
it's
breaking news. I'm being criticized while recording for my poor choices. And this whole episode now is just an emotional ruin for me. Is there anything you want to say, or do we save it for next week when we cover the 2000s? Or are you truly the monster in this week's horror episode, Randall?
History will speak kindly of me.
Give me your last choice, you fool.
Hindsight may not, but so my wild card was Midsummer, the movie about a group of college students or graduate students that go on essentially like a spring break and go to a remote Swedish village where the villagers partake in a bunch of ancient pagan rituals that one by one strangely kill a lot of the teenagers, or I guess 20-somethings. And I was trying to think of like a good group that I could drop in that would that would sit just as well there. Hot Fuzz isn't a comedy horror, right?
No, don't even fucking try.
No. Right,
it is clearly an action comedy pastiche. It's a satire on 90s and early 2000s action movies. Sorry that it has some of the same cast, most of the same cast, some of the same jokes as Shaun of the Dead. They're homages. Don't you even fucking try.
He was asking a question? Jeez.
No, I'm sorry. I've given you so much rope on some of these things. I've given you so much leeway. Do not even attempt.
All right. I was just thinking the greater good fits in well with the villagers. So
no.
Fine. Then what else? What's a good group, Mike, that I could do here to put in place of the Swedish villagers?
The Scooby-Doo group. I'm
going to throw you out the window. You can't.
No. What about? and this is a terrible movie. Well, the first one's good. Either the shitty Nicolas Cage remake or the original 70s. What about the Wicker Man Villagers? What if but is that too similar? It's just the same thing.
Kind of.
I actually thought it's the Wicker Man plot.
It's it. Yeah, it kind of is. There's got to be. Oh, here's an idea. What if they go to this Swedish village and everything seems fine, and then it's time for dinner, and they go into the building where Chef Julian Slowick and all the chefs from the menu are there.
I like that. That works.
And that's good. How they off all of them. We're kind of melding the movies, but it's no,
it works. It's and the context can still be the same. There has to be some sort of sacrifice because of all the work I put in, you people, blah blah blah, et cetera, et cetera. I like it. That's good.
Great.
So because this is our horror spooktacular,
spooky,
and we kind of breeze through a lot of this. Listen, Randy, I'm going to put it out there. Cards on the table. I like the episode we lost more than this one. There, I said it. That's good. It was so good. It was good. I'm such a dick. I'm sorry.
Note to everyone that the last one that we lost was Mike's idea. This one was mine. Do you see anything that's tied into that?
Mike, I see. I had to process.
You like your own idea, yes.
No, yeah, but no. I was fucking around. I thought you meant the last episode we lost. I was like, I'm pretty sure that one was a team effort. But yeah, I'm not saying. No, you're absolutely right, because everything I do is good and perfect and just. It's how it's. As I say, like all great villains, you have to believe you're the hero, and I'm the hero. So that's how it works. But with that, we will shut her down. Normal plugs, social media. You can find me on TikTok, Instagram. That's Mike Barcode, MikeBarcode. Please leave us a 5-star review on your podcast listener of choice. We actually have a new 5-star review that I'll read right now. It's from Mike Barcode on October 3rd, 2024. I'm leaving a 5-star review for myself. Let this help the algorithm. In a genius. Because I typoed writing I'm a genius. I am so smart. I am so smart. SMRT. I mean SMART.
Oh no. Mike, your curtains are on fire.
I don't need this diploma anymore. But we'll shut her down. We'll be back next week with Jim Carrey, Robin Williams, the 2000s, figuring out who won that decade. And then we'll look at the 20 years as a whole and see who came out on top. Randy, any final thoughts?
Not many. Happy Halloween, everybody. Goodbye.
Well, that's it for the show today. Thanks for listening. If you like us, make sure to leave a positive review and 5 stars on your podcast provider of choice. That helps the algorithm. More positive reviews help us get heard by more people. If you don't like us,